Hello, hello, hi, this is Emma from Footprints and Clouds, and I'm here live from Bali. And today I'm gonna continue my video series about Asia. And today I'll be talking about, oh, it's a beautiful butterfly there. I don't know if you can see. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, I'll be talking today about West Asia, okay? Um, which is also like the Middle East countries. Um, so in West Asia, during this trip, I've been to UAE, um, Jordan, Iran, and Oman. So I've only been to four countries, but I can tell that the four of them are very different from. They're very similar in many ways, but they're also very different. So talking about visas, okay, um, depends. Everything obviously will depend where you're from. As a European, in this case as a Portuguese, I can say, for example, that the visa for Iran, which is extremely difficult visa to get, I mean, for English, for Americans, it was very easy. I got it in less than 24 hours back in Lisbon. Places like Oman, sorry, I'm still sick. Places like Oman is like visa on arrival, so it's very easy. UAE, no issues as well. Um, Jordan is also visa on arrival. So, but once again, make sure that you check, your nationality and how easy or not it is to get inside the countries. Talk about safety. Now, it's funny because I remember a good friend of mine, when I announced that I was going to do this trip, and she's like, "Oh, come to Dubai." So, I'm not really sure. I don't know if I'm gonna like the Middle Eastern countries, all those things about women and how we'll be treated. And I'm so glad I ended up going because I did totally change my opinion um, about about Muslim countries, about Middle East, about the West Asia, because we're fed every day by media, by governments, by whatever. We're fed all these things. They're not necessarily true. So my experience was actually really rather amazing in terms of safety. I can say I've never felt unsafe, and I travel those countries by myself. Um, People usually associate Iran to bombs, and it couldn't be further than from the truth. I find it very, very safe. Maybe the country where I felt there could be a little bit of an issue, being by myself, probably was like actually Jordan. Some parts in Jordan. Um, I wouldn't obviously show skin or try avoid to show too much skin, and then you had to be sensible, obviously. But I in terms of safety, like I said, the four countries I've traveled by myself, and it were absolutely fine. I didn't have any issue. There was absolutely no bombs. So I don't think it shouldn't be, way safer than India, for example, in my opinion. So as a traveling, like I don't think like traveling by yourself, traveling with your family, with your kids, traveling with your friends. I don't think I can see it being an issue, really. So heads up for that. So um, I would go for it. In terms of itineraries, I mean, there's a lot of things to do, a lot of things to see in all the countries. I mean, obviously, if we're going to talk about Jordan, we have to mention Petra, which is amazing. And I mean, like, you cannot go to Jordan and not go into Petra. Um, but there's a lot of other like nice things in Jordan. For example, I really like Aqaba. Amman, the capital, was really nice. If you're talking about Iran, oh, Iran is absolutely stunning. There's so many things to do and see. I would say in Iran, like Isfahan is probably one of the most beautiful places I've been. But there's the little cities and the little towns that are also not, like Yazd or Farhan. Um, they're really nice. There's a lot of like, you have like the mountains, you have the rivers, you have the beaches, you have like Iran is very diverse. If we're talking about Oman, the wadis and the mountains, like so there's like all these beautiful lakes and the most amazing mountains, perfect for, do some sorry, to do some camping or trails, and like it's amazing. Oman is beautiful. It's very beautiful. UAE, I mean, of course, we have Dubai, which is like a Disneyland for adults. But you also have a lot of beautiful mountains and a lot of nature, deserts, and it's gorgeous. So all the countries have a lot to offer and a lot to see. So yeah, I mean, I spent roughly a month in each. No, Jordan, I think I just spent 2 weeks, and um, Oman 2 or 3 weeks as well. So I'll check that out. In terms of weather, it's really hot. It's really, really hot. I have to say that probably one of the only things you need to make sure is whenever you go or whenever you want to go, then make sure that you don't go during the summer, like the summer season for them. It can be extremely hot to the point like you can hardly walk outside. Seriously, I mean, I understand why there's so many shopping malls in those countries, or rather in UAE, for example, because like you don't want to be inside. I mean, outside. You really want to be somewhere with a lot of aircon. It's really hot. So the weather, yeah, that's one of the only things that I think you should make sure that you don't go when it's super, super hot, because it can go to 45 Celsius degrees, 50 even, which is unbearable. It's like I like it hot, but it's another level. In terms of um, costs, well, it depends. I mean, I think apart from UAE, they're very inexpensive. I mean, Iran was extremely cheap. Was very cheap. Jordan, it was roughly very cheap as well. Like some things I remember to have meals for like 40 cents or 50 cents, like nice meals. UAE is a little bit more expensive, but still, it's still affordable. It's still like, I mean, I remember that it really depends where you go, but it's not crazy expensive as like London or Paris or Tokyo or Oslo. It is a bit more expensive but it's still completely doable. It's not too bad. Oman, yeah, they're rather cheap. They're rather cheap. I mean, if we talk about accommodation, for example, I have to say I was very lucky because I have a few friends around. So I did couch surfing as well. So I didn't pay a lot for accommodation around those countries. But it was, you could get like decent places. I mean, I remember to end up booking a hotel in Dubai because I stayed with friends for so long. It's like, I know I like to spend, a couple of days, by myself. And I remember to book like a 5-star hotel, 4-star hotel, five. I think it was a 5, and it was actually rather cheap. It was like, oh, this is nice. It was like, maybe like, I don't know, it was cheap. It's not expensive, as in like European expensive. But yeah, accommodation is very easy to find all around. I personally like spending time with locals and understand the culture. So, like for example, in Iran, I did couch surfing every day, and the whole time I was there, and I had the most amazing experience. People were just by far the nicest people I ever met. Like really, like Iranians are just super amazing. In Jordan, um, people were very nice as well. Had great experiences. Same with Oman, my beautiful friends. Um, in UAE, I mean, I had friends there, it's a bit different, but still, like, had the best time. But yeah, I don't think it's an issue. Like, like checkbooking.com, and you can find decent accommodation for very decent prices. In terms of transportation, well, that's a little bit of a complicated one. I think the best is actually to rent a car for most of the countries, because if you want to go and visit the wadis, and if you want to go and visit the mountains, and like you need to rent a car. I end up renting a car in Oman, which was good. I was with a friend, so we both travel around. Um, and then I had another friend that took me around. But like, if you don't have your own car or a way to, will be difficult in places like Oman. Jordan, there's buses, but still, yeah, I think the best is actually for all of the countries. In Iran, I use mostly bus or a train, um, which was okay. It was there was a lot of, yeah, there was a lot of options, and they were very inexpensive. You might need some help to, from a local to actually help you booking, but it was easy. But yeah, like I would suggest to rent a car in the Middle East. In terms of food, food was okay. As a vegetarian, I didn't have that many choices. I felt like most of the countries I was always eating the same thing. Like in Jordan, I was mostly eating falafel, which already means. In Oman, I was pretty much having like hummus every day. In Iran, it was like every day as well. It's like eggplant. Um, UAE was easier, but yeah, I mean, if you're a meat lover, you're not gonna have a problem. And I got a lot of different sorts of meats apart from pork. But for vegetarians, I found it a little bit more, yeah, like there was not that many options. Let's put it that way. But the food is good. It's inexpensive and is very tasty. The Western food is amazing. Yeah, so yeah, it's not gonna be an issue. Now about the people. Like I was saying, yeah. To be really honest with you, I was one of those. I was not very interested in visiting the Middle East because of all the bullshit that we've had, and and I thought that the people wouldn't be that nice. And I can say it's definitely I was wrong. And the people are wonderful. And seriously, they really nice people. Like you're not gonna have an issue. Don't be afraid. There's good people and bad people everywhere, but as a majority, I have the best experiences with the people, especially in Iran. I know I keep saying that, but it really they have the nicest people ever, really. And you do find a lot of like communities of expats. I mean, in Dubai, like you get to see more expats than actually, no, like non-local. So you'll be fun. And there's a lot of travelers as well in around the area. Maybe not as many as in Iran, but like I actually really enjoyed the people I met in Iran. There was like the sort of really cool traveler. Like if you're gonna be in Iran and you're a traveler, you're probably gonna be cool. So I met really cool people. I like as in other travelers in Iran. A lot of Chinese in Iran, like a lot. Like you start getting Chinese everywhere. They just like they're going serious on the travel thing. Well, there's so many as well. So, but yeah. So as overall, I had the most amazing experience in the Middle East, in West Asia. It's interesting to like to analyze like West Asia with South Asia, which I spoke. They're completely different. But that's the beauty about Asia. They're completely different. All the countries are so unique, and so all the regions are so unique. So yeah, yeah, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you visit. I had a few people that after my trips in the Middle East, they decide to give it a try, and I have a few people that actually end up going to Iran, and they wrote me really nice messages and saying like how much they loved it and how much they were happy that they tried to go there, and that made me so happy, to see that somehow inspire people to give it a try, and they loved it, and so I hope you guys get those countries on your list. They're all amazing. From Jordan, I mean, you have Petra. It's just magic. It's magic, and try to do as much as you can. Like I spent 3 days in Petra. You need it. Then you have Iran, where you can easily spend a month. But if you have just a couple of weeks, you can do a lot in a couple of weeks too. Um, then UAE. I mean, if you want to have some fun, go to UAE. There's a lot of fun to have there, and it's beautiful as well. Like I mean, the nature is beautiful, and things like the Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi was just magical, gorgeous. And then Oman is just so nice, and it's just so underrated. People like don't talk about Oman, and It's seriously one of the cutest countries I've been. People are also lovely. People are very lovely there, very sweet. So yeah, I hope that helps, and I hope you somehow visit the Middle East or West Asia. And if you need anything, if you want any question, if you have any question or want any suggestion, I'll be happy to help. Okay? Much love. Mwah.